Welcome back, everybody. Happy summer. Welcome to the spot, the Stacked After Hours spot. My name is Natalie Cosby, your host, and welcome to the show for Grown Folk Talk. It is season 3, y'all, and so much is going on with Stack this season. And I hope you had a great summer. Tonight, we are talking about insecurities in relationships. So, are y'all ready? I hope y'all are ready. Get your cocktails ready. Keep those fingertips loose because we want to hear from you. So, for in your comments in the show tonight and here at SAA, we keep it what as always lit and enlightening. So let's get into it. Hi, sunshine.
Hey, we didn't plan this, right? But
We did not. This
yeah.
was not. I'm telling you, we did not plan. I know we look like a singing group, y'all, but we did not plan this at all. So the summer has been extremely lit at SAA. We started season 3. We wanted to kind of really just check in with everybody. We were posting questions of the day, and y'all were posting and da 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 da. So a lot of our topics came out of what you guys were actually sharing this weekend. I mean, this summer. So tonight we're talking about insecurities of relationships. So
and,
yeah.
and based on some of the responses that we saw from some of the questions of the day, I mean, there are some insecurities that people have.
There are. I think it started with when I thought about my own personal relationships and insecurities. Like I thought through myself. I was like, what were my own insecurities and what was projected onto me? And being single all my life, I was just like, I think I was the type of person that always had somebody at arm's length just to not get too tried to play it cool, but the coolness was really masking the insecurity, if that
So,
makes
so,
sense.
so did those guys that you were dating, did they require you to be a certain way if you were in, you were out with them or you were?
Well, one of them did. Like one of them, yeah, I have a lot of body. I'm a body girl. So yes, I think they did require me to be a certain. They wanted me to like either be really conservative or I guess I was their arm candy and would become really possessive. But what was happy to have me with them, but then the same token was like, why is he looking at you? I was like, I don't know why he's looking at you. I don't know why he's looking at me. Why don't you go ask him? Like those things.
I think for me personally, that has never been a problem. I think the relationship that I had, the guys encouraged me to be 100% how I look and how I dress. That wasn't a problem. I think because I could be a lot, I talk, I flirt, I'm a natural flirter. Even if I talk to a woman, it feels like I'm flirting. And it's not that way. That's just my personality. So that can throw a lot of people off if they're not confident in themselves.
So do you think like do you so Anthea, there's a lot of personality to you.
Energy, a
You
lot of.
Right, and a lot of energy. Did they expect you to change who you were? Do you felt like you needed to change?
I think sometimes I pull back because in certain relationships, I sensed that there was some sort of competition. Like, I'm somebody that likes to have a nice punchline, tell a joke. And I feel like in some relationships, one or two of them, I was always like, I gave the punchline, everybody laughed, and then that person had to give the other punchline above mine. So it's like, you can't get the last laugh. I need to get that last laugh. So it almost became like a competition. So for me, I just, you know, kind of tone myself back. And me toning back or holding back, that's just not me. I'm just 100% like a big personality and I can't help it.
So do you think? you feel like they were trying to like they didn't want you to outshine them,
I think that we
but they
just came
loved your
across like
shine.
competition. Yeah, 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 yeah. And I have to say also, um, being in a relationship from just dating someone, I felt in some instances, and of course, when I was married, I felt in some instances that, I had to tone back. I had to, what do you call it? Just dial it down a little bit. When,
Mute it a little bit. Yeah. I,
yeah, and just
I
there was
mean, but
some
why should you have
jealousy.
to do that? I mean,
Say
why
it
do you
again.
have why as people, but I think especially women, like I love to dance. I don't want to have to get off the dance floor. If I want to
I,
do the rerun, don't be mad at me.
I love to dance and Caribbean dance too. You know how we dance soca. We whine and we carry on, and that's just a part of my culture and my innate being. And I think sometimes it's really hard for some people to understand, but it means nothing. It's just who I am on a daily basis. Um, and so I found myself trying to dial back so that the attention would not be on me so much. And that's just was my way to avoid like a conflict or anything like that.
So do you think I always I understand the whole dialing it down, but I think what happens is sometimes you mute yourself
We
to make
lose
the other
ourselves.
person more comfortable. And
Yes.
somebody is just like, well, it's okay. It's a compromise. I'm compromising this
Yes.
because of
Yes.
the life he provides me or the life she provides me or so
Yes.
on and so forth. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I
I
get it. I
and I
believe there's compromise. Well,
yeah.
it's hard
But
for me.
in some cases, there was encouragement to look sexy. I want you to look sexy. I want everybody to notice you. So that's when you become like the trophy on the arm. But I have to say, my last relationship, I was, in a relationship with a narcissist. I really didn't know until I found out, and I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship with a narcissist,
Mhm.
but they don't like when you outshine them. They don't like when people like you more, you
Yeah,
know.
because they
So
want the
they
attention to be on them. Yeah.
Right. So in everybody, they're the greatest boyfriend, to the outer appearance. But at home, let me see what I could do to dim your lights because you ain't all of that. So that's when the nonchalant comes in, right? And you told me you experienced that as well too.
No, I did. I think I had somebody who was just like cover all of that. Like nobody needs to see that. That's for me. And I'm like, but this is how I dress. This is my style.
But the
Why do
thing
I need to?
about it though, you're not even dressing provocative.
I'm not girl. Look, when you got a lot of body, you can't. It's what
Your
it is. When
body
you got curves, you got curves.
You're
But
the type that could put on a turtleneck dress and you still
right,
command
exactly.
it.
But exactly. And so I told him, I was just like, what is that about with you? Why are you projecting? What was done to you that you got to project that onto me? Like, what is that about? And he's
Yeah,
just like, it's just, he's like, men look, and I know how men think. And but I said, but that's how you think. And I was like, yes, men
exactly.
may think like that, but
That's
you're
their
trying to
insecurity.
dictate who I am. And I have had a lot of boyfriends who've tried to like control just, they
The
try to
narrative.
control the
Yes,
narrative, the body, the whatever. I know you. No, you don't. Like understand this is also who I am. Yes, this is part of me, but and there is more. So
yeah.
stop trying to dictate how I look, what I say, what I think, because you
You
you have
you
some other
can't handle
insecurity.
it. That's their
You can't
insecurity.
risk it really does come down to that. I mean, like I said, I think the other thing is on the flip side, as for me with my own insecurities, with him, I felt like I was trying to prove something. I was
Yes.
younger, but I was trying to prove myself and be like, okay, well, maybe if I do this, well, maybe if I do that, well, why is he not giving me everything I need? And
Girl,
it
it
just
ain't you, it's
it
him.
becomes old.
It ain't you, it's him.
Yes. So we're going to talk a little bit more about this with our panel. We're going to introduce them now. So let's get into it. Well, she is terrified of nothing except roaches and rats, girl, and snakes. I can't do snakes, but I hear you. Nothing else intimidates her Welcome, Dr. Tracy White. Hi, Dr. T.
Hi, I wish y'all would have given me the memo about shoulders out.
Girl, it wasn't. Look, it was not a memo. I think I don't know.
Just push my whole shirt down.
Girl, don't put it down.
Yes, put it down, girl. Put it down.
I put it down. I'm not scared of anything except for rats and roaches. So, and the whip that's like on the back of.
Yes, we're gonna talk about that too.
Just that.
That's later. He's back. He's confident, not conceited. He enjoys life and holds no grudges or negativity. Let's welcome the humble prince.
Yay.
Oh, hi, humble prince.
Hello, good evening, ladies. Good evening, Kwame. Yeah. See, I even have my own applause sound effect. So
okay.
Y'all didn't hear it? Let me put it up again. Hey, y'all hear it?
There you go. Bravo.
Yeah, just in case y'all didn't have
the
one.
prince has arrived. I cannot.
And you're humble, huh?
Yeah.
Very humble.
All right.
Extremely.
And of course, who do we have?
Blazel.
Lord have mercy. To this day, he carries a bankroll in his pocket because all the men in his family are graded on how fat that knot is. Let's welcome, of course, Flazel, aka Kwame Christian. Hey, Kwame.
Hey, yo, humble, y'all. The applause, genius, my brother. Genius.
No doubt. Hey, here's one for you too.
Oh Lord!
Of course. I didn't want to be too forward, but I have something for the ladies. So, Dr. T, it's a pleasure meeting you. This is what I do for the ladies.
I was feeling some kind of a way. Like, how you gonna get applause and I didn't get anything?
Girl, you got magic.
Hit them twinkles again. Hit those twinkles again, humble.
Yeah. I didn't want to be too forward, I had to be humble, so I didn't want to, so.
What you trying to sprinkle on us tonight, humble?
Hey, we're talking about insecurities. Unfortunately, I really, this is going to be a difficult show for me because I really don't have one.
Well, you know what? We're going to start with the easy questions first.
All right.
So we're talking about insecurities and what y'all have either experienced or felt. And I think this actually spawned from a post that somebody had earlier this summer about what men want, right? So let's start from the beginning. What makes y'all feel once you get what you want, what makes you feel secure in the relationship? Let's start there.
For me, it's just respect, honestly. I mean, I know respect is earned, but we're adults. I think, at this stage, everybody knows what we need to do. So for me, it's mostly respect. If you, if we're in a committed relationship, understand that I'm your man and you're my woman. And, I'm not, if you're a flirt, I'm not saying don't flirt with guys, but there's certain ways, especially coming from a guy like me. And I'm not going.
So what are some of the ways? What is acceptable, humble prince?
So I'm a jealous guy, honestly. And I guess that's one of my insecurities, but I really don't let it get the best of me. And I really don't react. So
manage it now.
I manage it very well. So say you see, you bump into an ex, you don't have to tell me that's your ex. I don't want to know. Keep that to yourself. And if you do, say, hey, that's my ex. Okay, fine. If you want to give him a hug, why can't you just give him like one of those church hugs? Why you got to give him a hug on,
So you don't want to see your person with somebody else.
Oh, somebody's making, I didn't hear that. Was that me or?
You don't want to see your person with somebody else.
No, I can't. No, I don't. And it'll be the same for me. I'll, definitely reciprocate the gesture, the respect. So that's just one of the things. So I'm talking about respect. And, if we're in a committed relationship, keep your ex where they're supposed to be. Keep them in the past,
But outside of that, do you require like them dress a certain way or look a certain way?
Honestly, no. However you dress that makes you feel comfortable. Honestly, I don't. Sometimes, if you dress provocatively, and other men are checking you out, I think that's a compliment for me, and so,
Okay.
yeah, they're looking at something, I have. And, men, we love aesthetics. So we're going to be attracted to,
Right. You
yeah.
like
So,
the arm candy.
yeah, well, it's just what it is, so that's
So,
for me.
so
Go ahead.
Dr. T, I know Natalie's having some issues with noise in her space. So, Dr. T, what do you require from your person or don't require from them?
So you have to see me, right? And what I mean by see me is like you have got to know and understand the ebbs and flows of Tracy. Tracy is not complicated. She's easy. She's self-sufficient, but that does not mean that she's not a woman. And it means that as a man, you cannot fall into this space of sleeping because you have a woman who can take care of it, right? You got to be woke enough to make sure that you see me. And I could be self-sufficient, but I'm still a woman, right? Yeah. I still want to know that at the end of the day, my man got me. And so if you want to feel respected and you want to feel, all of those different things, which I got to be honest, at least for me and most of the women that I know, and I know a lot of women, that's not difficult. But you got to see us. You have to know what's important to us. And then you have got to make sure that you show up in all of those different categories. And to be quite honest with you, y'all, at least me, I'm almost 50. Like those categories are not the same categories that were there when I was 25.
Right.
It's so much easier.
So Dr. T, let me ask you a question. Did anyone require you to change behavior, look, dressing, or anything when you got into any of your relationships?
So my ex-husband had requirements, but those requirements were an outgrowth of his insecurities about himself.
Right.
Right. And they weren't about me being insecure. They were about him being insecure. And like when we get into the insecurities topic, like that's the one thing that I think that's important to delineate, that, there are people who are insecure about who they are. And when they bring that into the relationship circle and the relationship space, what that does is different than if you are actually the insecure person who's in that relationship. I am like the humble prince. I'm actually, but in one slight difference, I'm not a jealous person at all. Because at the end of the day, you're going to do what you're going to do, right? Like, ain't nothing I can do to stop you. You want to go somewhere, you're going to go. So go, right? But I don't have any insecurities. I don't embarrass easy. Like that stuff at this age, it doesn't sway me. But there are things that people can do to make you feel insecure about the relationship. It makes you feel like this is not a safe space because I found you in the basement in the corner whispering on the telephone at 2:00 in the morning, right? That ain't about me not liking myself. That's about you being shady.
Yeah.
So yes, Anthea, I have had, men who have asked me to change things about myself, to not flirt, to not give the ex the hug. But at the same token, I've also been in spaces where people think that the insecure space is maybe about me, but actually it's about their behavior.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Kwame. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with Dr. T. I was like, she made a very good point. Sorry.
So you guys say you say you don't necessarily have insecurities, but what has formed in relationships where you felt insecure? Like what were some of the examples that where you were just like, okay, or if you do have insecurities, how did they form within the relationship?
Finding your ass in the basement in the middle of the night to just put on your damn cell phone. This is space for me.
Okay. Kwame.
All right, so just like you said, your introduction about that BR, I got another BR that was a insecurity for me, but I think I've gotten over that. And that BR is the bathroom. So I had instances in past relationships where we went out to a club, we went out to a social setting, and I had to go to the bathroom, and I did not want to leave because there were other orbiters or men around. As soon as I left,
I'm sorry, Tom. What did you call them?
Orbiters, like male orbiters. You know what I'm saying? So when I went to the restroom, I didn't even go for 5 minutes. I just, you know what I'm saying, went to the stool, pulled pants down, washed hands, came back like 3 minutes. She just took maybe 3 minutes. She said 10 guys came up to her and gave her their like 30-second spiel because there were really no women in the club. So that's happened to me a couple of times. So I had to get over that because with me, trust, loyalty, and respect are bigger than looks in my department. Now, I just got reminded this past Tuesday because me and my boys went to an event, and Janet Jackson was there, and Cameron was there. This is one under the bridge now, but I'm gonna just say his name for the relevancy of the story. And he and my man and his girl were there, and she was like, "Yo, that's Cameron. I'm gonna get a picture." And she said to her man, "Is it okay?" And he said, "Yeah." And then they went up to Cameron, and my man was like, "Yo, my girl, she's gonna take a picture with you. She likes you." And Cameron was like, "Yo, is that okay for me to take a picture?" He's like, No, it's just a picture. That's fine." Took the picture. That was that. My man went to the bathroom and then came back, saw her and Cameron talking with each other. Then he came back, they partied, whatever. She said when they got home, Cameron slipped in her DM and wrote her, "Yo, it was good meeting you. Here's my number, blah, blah, blah." So I'm telling my man, like, whoa, who asked for whose Instagram during that bathroom break? So that was a little reminder of a insecurity that I had to get over, because if I can't trust the woman I'm with, then I don't need to be with her at all. But that was a prior insecurity.
Interesting.
Well, that sounds kind of valid because she obviously gave her the Instagram and encouraged the DM or whatever.
Yeah. So it's hard to trust people. Social media is the devil in terms of dating and amplifying trust issues if you have it, because you could just go by somebody's back, just get their information. They won't even know what's going on, and then you can move out your way. So really trusting these days is really, really at a high priority, at least for me.
Yo, I can agree more. Like I said, man, I don't even look at my woman's phone, man. Waste of time. You'll find all kind of trouble in there. So I don't look at her phone.
But
The phone is a dangerous thing.
your girl or your wife?
Either wife, girl, nothing. I don't look at their phones, man. There's nothing but trouble in there. So I don't look.
All right. So if I'm doing random pop-up checkups and I'm just on a random day, I'm swiping that phone and I'm going through it. I'm not going through a hardcore, but I'm going through DMs and I'm looking for guys' names I don't recognize. Bro, if I see something in there and as opposed to ignoring it, am I delaying the inevitable, or do I have?
But Kwame, why are you in the phone in the first place? Like,
Yeah, I don't go in there, man.
I think there are boundaries, and I think if you're with someone where you have to go in their phones, then there is obviously either some insecurities in you or some trust issues. But if they've done nothing to give you that trust issue, why are you going in their phones?
I just want to say that was a non-negotiable of my ex-husband, that we have access to each other's phone, and then all of a sudden he cut that access off, right? And which let me know immediately, like, it's time to transition out of this space. I would say that, and my learning from that was that if I'm ever with anyone where I feel like I want to look at their phone, like peep over their shoulder, that's my cue. I need to get the hell out.
Right.
Like, it's just a telltale sign. You gotta go.
Tracy, what got you to, like, I know when he cut off access, was it just that simple? You were like, I'm out? Like, what was, you didn't go through any kind of cycle to kind of be like, for you, there was no there were no little things that you went through to get to that point?
So I was married for 21 years.
Wow.
And right. And I am freshly divorced as of a couple of weeks ago.
Congratulations.
So happy. But yes, hit them twinkles again, humble prince, please.
I tell people I'm not an advocate for divorce, but I'm an advocate for happiness. And there are a whole lot of married people out here that should be seeking their happiness.
That's a whole other show, Natalie. I'm gonna text you about that and call me. Let me know if you want. I'll definitely be on that one.
Please, if I could be on that one too.
All right, come on.
It's just the truth. And what I would say is that it was very clear because there had been an issue of infidelity at the beginning of those 21 years, and I stayed because I was parent to his 2 children. They were my stepchildren, and then stepchildren, but not my stepchildren, right? They were my babies, right? And and then we had a daughter together, and so I stayed. And so what I will say is that I knew what it looked like when it happened in like year 3. So when we were in year 19 going on 20, I was like, I told you one time, shame on you. Second time, ain't gonna be no shame on me. I'm out. I'm clear. And it was very easy. That whole, oh, you changed your passcode? Got it, right? And the reality of it is that I actually agree with everybody else. We're grown. Like, you don't need to look at my phone. You don't need to look at my search history and stuff like that. Because the reality of it is that if I'm in a relationship, what am I searching? Like, where I can find the Django whips?
Yeah. When you get to that point of feeling like you have to check this, check that, check up on, that's your cue that this relationship is no longer healthy.
So
yeah, I believe once the trust is gone, it's over because, like they say, trust is lost in bucket but earned in drops. So it's hard. So once the trust is gone, just, if I can't trust you, it's
for y'all who have been with insecure people, how had those insecurities play out in the relationship? Tracy, I know you talked about your husband and his phone, but there's other like little things we see that we just constantly ignore. No, that we just like, oh, I can make it work. That's one of those things that I just ignore. And you're like.
And how about the question of the day, Natalie, leading up to what you just asked? Can you have a friend of the opposite sex who's a mutual friend?
I wanted to say something. Please, can I go? Can I just say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll kind of just like to echo Dr. T's sentiments when she says she really doesn't have any insecurities. A lot of times, insecure people try to project their insecurities in some way onto people. And I've dated women before that told me my ex-boyfriend was tall. I'm not tall. I'm 5'10", and sometimes she would try to come at me. I'm
Stop
like,
lying.
No, seriously. How tall do you think I am? I'm not lying. Okay. If I was going to lie, I would have said I was 6 feet with Timbs, but I'm 5'10", and she was like, I've dated taller men, and I tell her things like, well, I account for my inches elsewhere, and you know that. So when you try to come at me with the, and that's a fact. When you try to come at me, when you try to come at me with little stuff, I just clap back and I really don't have it. I'm confident in myself. I really don't have any insecurities.
I'm gonna call you on something though. Wait. The clap back is a little bit of insecurity.
There you go.
No, it's not. Not if it's a fact.
It is.
No, not if it's a fact.
But but the clap back means that what she told you got to you.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna let you ride with that.
No. But when you keep saying it at some point, because for my style is just to ignore, honestly. But if you keep saying that, I'm like, okay, let me just throw a little jab. And she knew it was a fact. That's why she
had been saying it over and over again. Like
she had said it about 3 or 4 times. Yeah.
Okay. I digress.
Yeah, but
but when we.
Because you women like to get under our skin sometimes, but my style is just to ignore, But if you want us to go there, then we can.
Right. No, and okay. So I think it does. I think I always say insecurities is what cause unrest in relationships.
Yeah.
No,
True.
can we agree with that?
Yeah.
Yes.
How, and so my thing is, it's just like, what has that unrest look like for y'all? Because I think people are in relationships and they don't even realize there is unrest. They just in there. It's like they just like, oh, this is how we do. Knowing that, or they give their partner excuses of, okay, this is, well, he does that because, and he wants me to do this, or she wants me to do that, so I just do it because that's what makes her happy. Realizing that they're compromising everything about themselves. So that's why I said, how have those things kind of played out for you? Kwame, I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, please.
You're on.
It's funny how a lot of us, or the majority of the individuals on this panel, believe that, we don't really have a lot of insecurities. We work on our insecurities, and that may be so. That's true. I believe that too. But it might be like 20 years unfair because 20 years ago, I don't think we would be saying that. 15 years ago, we might not be saying that. 25 years ago. So it's almost hindsight is where we probably learned through experience and pain and throughout the years how to conquer our insecurities. I'm close to, I'm almost 52. So I've come a long way from being 40 and a long way from being 30. And I appreciate the struggle, and I could say, with confidence that I have conquered a lot of my own insecurities.
Kwame, I'm gonna stop you there. I'm gonna stop you right there. You answered the question. You did not answer the question. I asked you, how had they played out? Yeah, you giving me a rotating record. What are some of the things that have played out in your? They may not play out now, but what has played out in the past? What are some of the things that you know? Come on, Kwame.
In a marriage, it's funny where you can be comfortable easy. And the one thing that males and females, mostly females, go through, I can particularly say, is weight. So with men, there's no other place on the body that afflicts men the same as in our tummies and our guts. And if we don't work on that and we get comfortable and we don't have to impress our ladies anymore, that gut can grow. And then that can be an insecurity where you feel like you're past your prime, you're too old, your testosterone is low, you don't feel like going to the gym. Oh, she's not going to leave me, she's not going anywhere. That's an insecurity that you can, you'll see most men cover their shirts. If it's at a basketball court, shirt and skins, they damn sure don't want to be skins, going to the beach and wearing the shirt all the time. It's certain insecurities you'll see with that. And weight is one thing I could say is prevalent.
Your breast, men's breast, as men get older, like bellies, whatever, we can get through that. But it's the boobs. It's the moves.
If I can piggyback on that, thank you, doctor. Man boobs is one of those things where sometimes, because I guess men, when you get older, you acquire a little more estrogen, along with not, working out, and along with if you were buff earlier in life, that muscle turns to fat. Those man boobs could kill a relationship and your self-esteem and confidence.
Yeah, that's why I try to tell man, just do 100 push-ups a day, because I used to have moves, but that's how I was just trying to flex with y'all to see if I could, because you can't do that with fat. You can only do that with muscle. So let me see. I was trying to.
You're good, humble prince. I saw you flexing. There's no move.
I got a little something.
I do my 100 every day, baby.
No moves. You guys are good.
And no gut over here, because I run 8 miles every other day.
Oh,
so,
Lord.
So I can't.
So get your body image. Go back, Anthea. So back to what Anthea said earlier. What about outside friends?
See why it's hard for me to get from TSA to the airport? These guns. God damn.
Oh Lord.
Sorry.
The opposite, the having friends of the opposite sex.
Honestly, go ahead, Dr. T. I'll go after you.
I just think it goes back to that whole notion of actually what Humble Prince talked about in the beginning, which is respect, right? Like if you have a friend and who is a friend of the opposite sex, and that is who you want to be your first call in the morning and your first call at night, what you doing with me, right? You should be with them because that's where your heart is. I think that it's fine for people to have friends of the opposite sex. In fact, I think that you should. Like in my marriage for all those years, that again, being with a man who was super insecure was a mandate that I could not have friends of the opposite sex. And you lose something by not having the opportunity to commune in a very platonic way with men if you're a woman, and with women if you're a man. But it all comes down to respect. If you have friends, but you're in a significant relationship with someone else, then you have to be mindful about how you conduct yourself. What do you talk about? What do you reveal? And in those spaces, how do you carry yourself, right? Like I save my super, sexy stuff for when I'm going out with my man. What am I wearing that for when I'm going to go sit at the local bar with my friend, right? I'm conveying a different message, not just to him, but to the broader world. So I think having people or friends of the opposite sex is fine. But when you're somewhat with someone who's insecure, they can have a tendency to want to shut that down.
But I think that goes back to what Natalie was asking. Like, so is that insecurity something because they probably are themselves looking at the opposite sex that way, that they are projecting that sort of insecurity onto you?
Absolutely. Like my current beau has lots of women. I mean, he was my college sweetheart, and I was married for 20 years. And then after I got divorced, when I was going through my divorce, we reconnected last year. We've been reconnected for a little bit over a year now. He has tons of female friends, right? And it is truly platonic. I'm not worried about that. I know them. If they call, he'll answer the phone. I'm not worried about any of that. But, there was a time when we were dating. We started dating when I was 17. He was 18. We dated for almost 9 years before I drifted off and went and married somebody else I should have married. But during those early times, that's another show. During those early times, I did have some insecurities. And now that I'm almost 50, I recognize those insecurities were not about him. He was not inappropriate in that way in our relationship. We didn't break up because of him with other girls or other women or anything like that. It was a totally different set of issues. But I did, when I was younger, in my late teens, early 20s, I had insecurities that I did project on him. And part of that was because I didn't have male friends who weren't trying to get with me, right? So if there was a boy in my life, and I call him boy because that's when I was a late teen, early 20, they was in my life because they was trying to get something from me. And so it was hard for me to conceptualize how you got these friends who are girls that you're not trying to do with them, with all these dudes who are, ringing my bell are trying to do with me. So I did project that into the relationship.
Right.
Yeah. And in all fairness, Dr. T, I do agree that we are grown, but some of us are at 50 and still dealing with that same issue.
Kids.
And so that's why we're having this conversation. Yeah, but the journey of getting us there to the point where we can address our insecurities and recognize them and put them away. Mm-hmm. They may pop up, the feeling may pop up, but you know how to manage it. So my question, that's why I was like, for those people who have worked through it, let's talk about how y'all have worked through it so it can help the folks who are watching so they can be like, oh, okay, got it.
Can I just say one thing to that, Natalie? Yeah. I think that would help me to work through it is that back in that early relationship, my significant other who was then, he was not insecure that way, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I came out of that relationship, and I started to be in a relationship with someone who was totally insecure, what helped me work through it was like, oh my gosh, this is not serving any of us. And insecurities lead to requests and asks of the other person in the relationship that are absolutely have nothing to do with creating a healthy relationship. They are all about making you feel better at the end of the day about yourself, not even about the relationship. They just make you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And so I worked through it because I did my work on myself.
Right.
It's not about what anybody else did or changed. I just I'm in love with me, and I'm in love with my life. And so I'm not caught up into, are you trying to get with her? Because at the end of the day, if you do that, I'm going to bounce and I'm going to be okay. And I'll do it. You know what I mean? So there's no need.
Well, I want to talk to those people just to kind of, for those people who stayed and didn't bounce initially. What was it for anybody who wants to speak to that? Because I know I've been cheated on, but I just, from the panel, if they cheated on you and you didn't bounce because of your own personal insecurities, what got you to the point where you were just like, first of all, what was the initial thought when he cheated or she cheated?
Thank you, because they cheat too.
I said she. He or she. It's all fair up in here. Oh, Lulu, go ahead.
So to be honest with you, I don't mind if my wife, woman, girlfriend, whatever has friends of the opposite sex. As a matter of fact, I encourage it because I believe, especially if they've been friends before we started courting. Only time I'll have a problem is if you give me reason to act otherwise. To say, this is just not just a platonic friendship, that there's something there. I'll give you an example. I was with someone once, and she said she had a friend. Oh, cool. We even went out once. We all went out together. We met, joked, and everything. Another time she said, oh, I'm going out with so and so. Oh, I said, okay, cool. So her phone was on the table. This N-word is going to text her and say, make sure you wear something nice. Right there, you're giving me reason to think otherwise. Like, this is just more than, and she said it was just a joke and everything. At that point, again, is that an insecurity or my jealous behind? I didn't like that because, and the kind of talk. And she said,
that's a little shady.
Thank you. That's a little shady. And I said, look, if that's the kind of friendship you want while you with me, I can't take that. And I don't think it's just a insecurity thing. I think it's a matter of respect. And I flipped it. I said, okay, what if I was going out and I picked one of my female friends and she told me to wear something nice, or I told her to wear something nice? How would you feel? And she said, okay. So that's just, that happened. So again, if you're going to have friends of the opposite sex, just make sure it's platonic, and just let's make sure that respect and trust remain steadfast. Yes, and boundaries. Exactly. Thank you, Anthea. As far as me finding out that somebody cheated on me, I bounced because I couldn't take it. I just don't think it's an insecurity thing. And I would hope that anybody that finds out that they're being cheated on, maybe if you give the person a pass once, but if it happens again, bounce, because you're doing yourself a disservice. That's just my point of view. So I wouldn't be with anybody that cheated on me. No.
Has anybody been with somebody who cheated on them and stayed?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah, I stayed. I stayed for a number of reasons. I stayed because of where we were with raising our family. I stayed because what I believed about marriage. I stayed for a number of different reasons. And I would say that, again, I got divorced after being married for 21 years. The first infidelity happened when we were at about year 4, 3 or 4. And when I started to feel, and I felt it, right? Like I felt it. And we did whatever our work was, healing came, I stayed. But when I felt it again, that was it. Like there was no way. I didn't have from year 3 or 4 until year like 19 or 20 There was not a, oh my gosh, this is happening again. It didn't feel like that at all. In fact, it was happy. It was joyous. Like I say this all the time. Like, I got divorced after 21 years, but I was not an unhappy person for 21 years. Anyone who knew us would not categorize what was happening in our marriage, in our relationship as that. But when I felt it again, I knew exactly what it was. And I wasted no time to say deuces. Like because I said then, I will never work back from this place again, ever. And because we're raising 3 children, that absolutely was a factor. But after that, I was like, oh no, it will never happen again. And I wasted 0 minutes and 0 seconds. When I felt it, I saw that phone code change. I was like, I got it. You got to the end of the month. Like, who was that? Angela Bassett said, get your shit. Get your shit and get out.
Yeah, you know, I find women are more, I think they're more forgiving, but men, I don't think we're as forgiving, because when we find out our women cheat, that, you know, our egos, I don't know if that's the thing.
Kwame is shaking. Go ahead, Kwame.
Oh, Kwame, I want to say, Kwame, real quick, my name is Kwame too, by the way, but so just thought I'll put that out there.
My brother.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, all right. Yes, it's a double standard. Maybe we could be friends and stuff. But if you give cookie to, and sometimes us guys look at it like this, as competition, because I'm the one that won out. I won out of all the guys that was trying to get your attention, get your love, get your affection, get your loyalty. I won out. And now you're like, you have me and you're having something on the side. I've, thank God, never experienced, to my knowledge, I've never been cheated on and went back to the woman in the relationship. I found that I was cheated on at the conclusion and at the end of the relationship. But I haven't been cheated on, but I would never take anyone back that blatantly slept with someone else and had their cars parked in my garage. That's not happening, son. Nah, son. Nah.
Yeah. Wait, Kwame, did you say you've never been cheated on, or you just don't?
No, no one knows. But in terms of Natalie's question, deliberately taking someone back when they cheated, hell to the no. Thank God I didn't find out in the middle of my relationship. Again, I found, and it hurt. It wouldn't have hurt, I don't think, as bad, but I found out at the end, and it pain is pain.
Time out. You won't even go back. You won't go back to Smash. Like, get back just in Smash, and it's over. I have gone back to Smash when I found out they cheated. I mean,
I've never gone back to.
Can I ask a question though? What's the point in going back to Smash, knowing that is that like a revengeful Smash?
Maybe, or just like, you know, to see if you can still put it down or whatever. Just, you know, it's just sex.
Okay.
It's a smash. The guys, if it's clean,
it's something else. If she cheated on you and you say you never go back, there's something more to it than just
it's some ego there.
There's some ego shit there, y'all.
Oh yeah, I just said that. I just said maybe it's the ego. Yes, definitely. It's definitely yeah. I agree.
I'm sorry, can I say this? Humble person, will you give me some twinkles, please? We go back to Smash 2. Thank you very much.
Again?
We go back to Smash 2. I'm just saying.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Hey, good. You know, we all got needs.
Especially if the Smash was always good. If that's the one thing that was always good, we'll go back. Sometimes. Depends on how crazy that whole.
It's not always
until they meet somebody better.
It's not always the enjoyment for the man, just so y'all know.
Yeah. So, we have a couple more minutes before we go. But one of my final things was just like, you know, we talked about relationships, we talked about, you know, other people, outside friends, your phone, but now that all of you guys are single and you meet someone and they start giving you like certain, because there's a lot of rules. People are, now that we've gone through our insecurities and we've worked through some things, do y'all have some rules when y'all, the parameters?
I like that.
What
question.
are those parameters?
Yeah. What are the rules?
What are the rules now?
I'll let Kwame go first, man, because we've been going first.
So
Kwame, go ahead.
a lot of us experienced folks on the panel. One thing we can say together is we're still trying to figure out, the things that make us happy and that we like, but we definitely know what we don't like. So if anything comes up, I'm not waiting to see if it'll happen. Maybe that's not a red flag. Maybe I'm off. I'm not saying I'm cutting you off and I'm clipping you off of just something you do because you're not perfect. But if there's a pattern, and if that pattern, if it's double digits, deuces. Like I'm not even like one
What
time.
is some of the patterns, Kwame? Give me a pattern that you said deuces on.
This is gonna sound strange. If I look at your Instagram and all of the pictures are selfies of you clipped, that's too much. You're into yourself.
Clipped?
What?
What do you mean by clipped?
Oh no, I'm not saying, well, maybe she's a good person. Maybe I'm not. I'm looking at that as that's giving off you like yourself a little bit too much when every picture is of yourself.
Okay.
That's just an example. It's a trivial example, but just an example.
I could see that. There's a lot of men that do judge based on your Instagram. Yeah. I've heard that before.
Dr. Tracy, what is some of your parameters now when you meet? Well, you're in a relationship, but when you were dating before you started dating your whatever, or what are your parameters now in your relationship? Do you have any?
I do. Yeah, you don't get to tell me what to do at all. Like you just don't. I get to live my full-blown, complete life. And there may be a point in time further down the road when my divorce is not as fresh as it is now, where there are some conversations about the way that I move through this earth. I don't move through this earth, being in a relationship, being focused on or thinking about trying to connect with other men in an intimate or romantic way, like what I'm involved with my man, right? That's just who I am. I'm a loyalist. I'm not a cheater. I'm not that's just not me. And so because that's not me, I will never subject myself to being with someone who wants to clip my wings. I go where I want, when I want, with whomever I want, for however long I want to go. I just shared with Natalie, I was in Mexico for a full month. I was not there for that full month with my man. There were 4 waves of different groups of people who came to spend that time. I didn't ask anybody permission for that. I will never be in a space where I am asking permission to move the way that I want to move in a relationship with anybody ever again. And if that means that I ride this thing out to my dirt nap alone, I'm good with it.
Oh, okay. Don't
So
ask.
there's no compromising, Dr. T?
Yeah, probably not. Because like what Kwame talked about is that when you get to be 50, like you've lived most of your life, right? And if you're with me, then you already understand, because I'm just in general, I'm very loyal and I'm respectful, especially to my man, period. So I'm not going to be a person who, if I think that, you don't have to talk to me about it, right? If I think that me going to Bali for 45 days is something that you may not love, then I'm going to think about that at the beginning, right? I'm not going to book that 45-day trip. So we're not going to enter a space where we need to compromise about a decision I make for my life, because I'm going to think about you. But just know I'm going to think about you. And if I've already made the decision, I'm not going to not make that decision because you want me to do something different.
So you do have a conversation, Dr. T,
Well, it's a telling.
to tell them what you're doing.
My
Got
flight
it.
leaves at 8 o'clock on this day. It'll be back at 7 o'clock on this day. Can you take me to the airport? I'll call you when I get there. And if you can, it's fine because Uber works at all hours of the day.
Oh, wait, you didn't invite him?
Sometimes, yeah, you can come and be there for a period of that time, right? But
So, Dr. T, yours is very controlled. It's very curated and very controlled.
for me, and I'm
Got it.
very clear about that, right?
Okay.
And it's okay. And that's why I love my man, because he's known me since I was 17 and I'm 47. So it's 30 years. And he's also divorced. So he understands my season. And it is time to allow this butterfly to fly because he understands that my wings were clipped and it's good, for what we got going in our lives right now. So those are my rules and my parameters. I ain't asking nobody nothing about what I'm about to do.
Olu, Humble Prince, I'm sorry. My bad. Humble Prince, what are your parameters now?
Oh no, please, before I answer, Dr. T, can I ask a quick question? So how would you feel if the same gesture is reciprocated to you? Are you okay with that? The same thing you're doing, if he does the same thing, like, this is it, no compromise.
If
You
he
okay with
was
that?
like, yeah. So I'm going to be in New York starting on Friday because you all, if you live in New York, all of that, Howard, Morehouse, Spelman. I'm a Howard graduate 2 times over. My daughter, is in like I'm a Howardite, right? And so he's also a Howardite, but he's going with some of his bestest sister friends. He goes all the time. I know them very well. They've been in my home. We went to school together. They're all going to Delaware, to the beach. I don't care. Like, go.
Okay,
Calm.
that's good.
I'm going to call you. We'll text each other. We'll send each other pictures. And that's fine. He wasn't like, hey, is it okay if I do this? Because he's a grown-ass man. He's 49. He's been living a whole life. And I trust, and this is where that whole insecurities piece, I trust him. And if I didn't trust him, I wouldn't even be with him. And so I trust him. And if I said, I don't want you to go, what's that going to do? Keep him from sleeping with somebody else? That's fine. She'll just travel down here and they'll do whatever they do wherever. So I don't need that from him. He doesn't have to ask permission from me for anything. Just tell me.
That's a very good, mature relationship. Again, with me, my parameters is just, I believe we're all adults. We know what's right from wrong at this stage. I'm 48. I'm going to be 50 soon. So all I demand is just respect. And please don't take my niceness for weakness, because a lot of people do that. And, women will tell you that they want a man that leads. And if I try to make a suggestion and I'm trying to lead and saying, I think this is the right way, and it's been proven like sometimes your way didn't work. So I believe I put myself in a position where I might have more experience in some aspects of the relationship. And as you might have as well, let's help each other. Let's listen to each other. But again, I've been told I'm a pushover because I don't like to argue. I've been with, toxic people. They throw these little jabs and everything. And to be honest with you, my style is just to ignore. At some point, I might want to be petty and just, throw something back just to get, just to retaliate. But at that point, I've lost interest, honestly. And, there are ways, but I'm a grown man. So again, all I demand is just respect, and please don't take my niceness for weakness. That's it.
So Humble Prince.
Yeah.
All
Are
right.
you?
Uh-oh.
Well,
No
they're
overtime?
Right. I was
They're trying to wrap up
in the relationship, but
So,
we could do the after party. We could do the after
We're going to
do
take
the
it into
after party,
the
yeah.
after party and talk a little bit more
Okay.
about it, and really kind of bring this full circle. Thank
Yeah.
y'all.
Please, I want to. Can we get everybody's contact information? Is that okay?
Come in the after party. Come in the after
Oh,
party.
okay. Let's go. I'm here.
All
Let's
right.
go to the after party.
Bye, y'all. We'll see y'all next week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. wow, you guys don't play. This is not no ghetto podcast, man.